Imagine you're crouched behind a rock at the edge of a frozen ravine 20,000 years ago. You've been here 6 hours. Your hands are numb. Nobody has spoken a word since morning because the wind is blowing straight toward the animals you're hunting, and one wrong sound could ruin everything. Down in the valley, a mammoth herd is grazing. 13 adults, a few calves. Each one weighs more than a small truck. You're holding a wooden shaft with a sharpened stone tip hardened over a fire 2 nights ago until the point turned almost black. No metal, no bow, no horse to ride. And by tonight, one of those animals is going to be dead, and your whole group is going to eat for weeks. 6 days earlier, this hunt didn't exist yet. Your group had only just picked up the herd's trail, trampled snow, dung still steaming in the cold morning air, a smell you'd learn to recognize from half a kilometer away. For 2 full days, nobody attacked anything. People just watched. Which way the herd walked when they were calm. Which way they walked when a wolf pack got too close. Which of the adults reacted first to danger, and which way she turned when she did. Someone remembered a ravine 2 kilometers off, one with only a single way out once an animal was inside it. So the group split. Half kept pace with the herd from a safe distance, staying downwind, staying patient. The other half went ahead to the ravine and started digging. Not one hole. A line of them, hidden under branches and packed snow, positioned exactly where a frightened animal would run once it had nowhere left to go. It took 3 days, digging frozen ground with stone and bone tools, one basket of dirt at a time, hands cracking in the cold. On the second night, someone's spear point split against a rock, and they sat by the fire re-napping a new one out of flint by feel because it was too dark to see clearly. Nobody here is planning to charge in and fight. A mammoth this size could kill any of them in seconds, and everyone already knows it, because 2 summers ago, a hunter from a neighboring group tried exactly that and never came back. So the plan was never to fight the animal. It was to move it. Mammoths don't spook easily, and today, that's the whole point. When something unfamiliar shows up, smoke, a strange sound, they don't scatter in a panic. They do what elephants still do now. The whole herd moves away from it together, calmly, staying close, keeping the calves in the middle. That's predictable. Predictable is exactly what this plan needs. A few hunters positioned upwind light small fires, not big ones, just enough smoke to start drifting toward the herd. For a moment, it almost doesn't work. The herd shifts sideways instead of forward, drifting along the tree line instead of toward the ravine. And for a few seconds, it looks like 6 days of tracking and 3 days of digging are about to mean nothing. Then a second, smaller fire gets lit further along the tree line, closing off the sideways path, and the lead female turns again. This time she turns the right way. The rest follow her, the way they always do. They start walking, away from the smoke, straight toward the ravine. Then it happens. A low shudder runs through the ground. The lead mammoth's front legs punch straight through the hidden pit, and 13,000 pounds of muscle drops into a hole she never saw coming. Her scream sends the rest of the herd scattering in every direction except hers. 5 people move in fast, low from the sides, never straight at the head, never in range of the tusks, nobody swinging wildly. They already know exactly where to aim, because they've been butchering dead animals their whole lives. The throat, and a spot just behind the front leg where a long spear angled right can reach the lungs. It isn't fast. It isn't clean. The animal fights the pit walls for what feels like a long time before it finally goes still. Hunts like this fail plenty of times. Everyone here has heard the stories, the ones where the trap didn't hold, or the herd turned the wrong way, or a hunter got too close too soon. Today, this one works. Once the mammoth is dead, almost nothing about it goes to waste. The group works fast, because meat left too long in the open draws wolves and other scavengers. The meat gets cut right there, some eaten that night, most packed into pits dug into the permafrost, natural freezers that will keep it edible for months. The hide gets scraped clean and turned into shelter material and clothing. The bones get saved too, Some turned into tools and needles, some stacked and used to frame a shelter strong enough to hold up walls of hide and turf, the way older shelters nearby were already built. One animal. Dozens of people fed for weeks. That's what 6 days of tracking, 3 cold nights of digging, and one bad moment when the herd almost turned the wrong way bought them. Thousands of years later, in a field in southern Poland, someone digs into the ground and finds a bone. Then another. Then dozens more. Then over 100. Mammoth remains packed into one location, far too many to have ended up there on their own. Around the bones, stone tools, and cut marks in exactly the places a person would slice to remove meat. The land around the site still funnels naturally toward one low point, the same shape as the ravine from that hunt thousands of years earlier. Farther east, in Siberia, other researchers find something stranger. Mammoth bones stacked deliberately into the frame of a shelter, walls once held up by tusks and leg bones long after the wood around them had rotted away. Some of the bones even show old, healed injuries, wounds that scarred over long before the animal eventually died. Proof that some hunts, just like the ones in the old stories, had failed completely, months or years before this one finally succeeded. The pits themselves get dated by the layers of soil that settled over them across thousands of years, the same way archaeologists date buried ground all over the world. None of it needed a written record. The bones, the tools, and the shape of the land told the story on their own. Not every researcher agrees on how often hunts like this actually happened, though. Some argue coordinated hunts like the one in the ravine were common, a repeated strategy season after season. Others think many of these kill sites are misleading, that some mammoths simply died naturally near rivers and bogs, and people scavenge them afterward instead of hunting them down. Most researchers today land somewhere in the middle. The cut marks and the trap sites are hard to explain without real planned hunting. But scavenging already dead mammoths was almost certainly happening too, especially in the coldest months, when a body could stay preserved in the ice for a long time before anyone found it. Either way, none of it needed a single piece of metal. Just fire, wood, stone, patience, and a plan that started 6 days before the mammoth ever reached the ravine.